the chaos enough to cause big problems. You know, I think that it's what I wanted, right? I said throw the box away, pick some stuff that's just new, something that's a bit different, and it could catch the Hawks out. You know, obviously a little bit hard to execute, but it could be a sentiment of they win early, they get a lead, they snowball. We've all played against Akali. No one enjoys that.
No, that is very true. Akali can most definitely 1v9 games, and an area of weakness that I would recognize for the Hawks' comp is if they are put behind, they're kind of rubbish at getting back into the game after. If this Gnar gets beaten up in the early game, if Hecarim gets invaded by Unica, they can't fight back, especially if you are doing the typical Hecarim strategy where you start Q and then you level up Q a second time after you've cleared one quadranary jungle so you can fast clear. If you get invaded at that point, you cannot gank. You need that level 4 to gank. So there is a real window where if V3 are proactive on the invade, then potentially Hawks' game plan might get chucked up in the air and we could see that 0 turning into a 1 in the victory 3 column.
It's what I want to see. You know, I said I'm excited for this game. It's because I want to see V3 pick up the win. I want to see this 6th playoffs spot race just absolutely explode, because if the Hawks lose here, them and Axis have some pretty tough schedules. They have to pick up a win against strong teams, and it just makes it even more interesting. So for me, I'm really hoping V3 can find it. Kashka has a whole meme folder that I want to see as well if V3 wins. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and I'm hoping that maybe this difference is potentially going to bring back some cool switches up. You know, maybe V3 are going to be able to find it.
Yeah, they can't make playoffs, but at least they can, you know, have a good time upsetting other people at the end of the day.
I meant the Hawks versus Axis. They're 6th place race.
Okay, now I see how you mean it. I'm with you. Anyway, not much going to happen early. We do not have Unica invading. This upsets me fundamentally.
That's a little bit of play in the bot lane, but not much. Blitzcrank though, Blitzcrank doesn't agree. He thinks the Hawks are basically always in favor and always ahead. So we'll have to see if Blitzcrank is correct. Maybe that math's a little bit off.
Well, you do have some, like, I'm trying to think of the way to put this, because V3 have a lot of niche combos that work in specific situations. Basically what they've done is they've done a poor job of making like a card game deck that's coherent. They need to draw exactly the right hand to win. For example, mid lane, Trundle puts down Pillar. That is a free stun from Yu-Gi-Oh! Dasher should die. That's great. Bot lane, you have Zyra Khan. Enough said. You have that additional synergy we were talking about with the Trundle ult and the Syndra ult being really good at killing one target. Then Akali, a lot of dashes. She can facilitate for Hertel. That's all very idealistic. When you're considering everything that Hawks have to throw against you, you are not putting any thought into what they have. You are just playing your own game and hoping the enemy are not playing theirs.
Yeah, it does feel like they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! They've dropped an Exodia in the deck, and then they've just kind of YOLO'd all of the rest of the cards. You know, they are hoping on the very niche ways to win, which are kind of difficult. But right now in the bot lane, a bit of trading there, as Reinhardt going to take a bit of damage. But Set with the Haymaker getting that shield, it does make it very difficult to get a lot of damage off.
I actually love the Yu-Gi-Oh! Analogy, because the way that they've done is they've actually put a deck together like from the show. And the only reason that the people in the show win is because they're the protagonist, right? At the end of the day, they do get to draw the perfect card every single time when it matters. Normal people don't get that, and unfortunately, I don't think for many people, V3 are the protagonists of the LJL.
It tells me that you don't believe in the heart of the cards,
I believe in the heart of the cards, all right? You do not get to tell me I don't believe in the heart of the cards, but Pot of Greed is banned here, and I feel like Washide is just going to be going into their invis here completely fine on their own in isolation. Nothing too proactive coming out from either team, which, again, I'm going to say favors the Hawks.
Yeah, it does, definitely. I think the late game scaling for them is going to be pretty hard to deal with. Obviously, there is a lot of diving forwards, which will play nicely into the Xayah in the late game team fights, but there's only so much you can kite out, and obviously Set with the Kai'Sa, with the Gnar, with the Hecarim is a lot to handle.
I want to believe in V3, but I just can't bring myself to do it, you know?
I do agree. I feel similar, but I'm running on hopium. You know, I'm running on EU, England football levels of hopium right now that V3 could pull this through.
Well, I'm trying to, like, remove bias, because if you look at it at the end of the day, Akali and Syndra are very, very good high DPS targets, and there aren't really that many key tanks for Hawks, if you do ever get onto the Kai'Sa or do ever get onto the Rise, then it's really good, as they are looking for something here, but Hawks are here to counter.
3v3, Yujo going to flash away, but Hecarim going to bring them straight back into this fight. Dasher trying to get some damage down, but not finding major damage right now. Going to pull back Hatel, who will flash away, and the Ignite ticking over. Not going to be enough, so they are able to keep it stable. No one goes down, but V3 do not win the play that they proactively started.
And one of the things that I wanted from the Hawks is more priority on Dasher. Get them onto these kind of playmakers like the Rise, something that they have performed well on in the past. I want to see them on damage threats. I don't want to see them doing utility. There was a reason that this player was contesting Arya at the end of last split for the best mid laner. They haven't been doing it so much this time around. It's much more been the Jet show as far as it goes, at least for contenders to the top of DFM. So I need to see more of the old. Bring back some of that nice, fancy stuff that we could see on the Rise. It's a very good stylish champion. My only woe is that V3 actually have an extremely good comp for handling it.
Oh, no. They're going to get the slam against Washidate in the top side. However, going to be able to stay alive, being invisible in the Shroud. But a little bit of a rough moment there for Washidate, almost going pretty low. And I want to get your scope on Kai'Sa, right? Because Kai'Sa's been a pick that's changed a lot recently. Obviously, coming back into meta and also being very popular in the mid lane, sorry.
No, I knew what you meant, though, because one of the things is she does spike very heavily in the mid game as well. Once you get that triple evolve setup going for this initial Muramana build into AP after it, that's been the commonplace. But this looks like it's going to be Marble going full AD, not going for that poke alternative, just trying to make sure they are proactive in the team fights with the DPS.
And talking about proactive, it does look like V3 might be going for that early Drake. We do see that Blank has gone for the invade on Unica's jungle, so he might be trying to just gain those small advantages. Obviously already level 6 to the level 5 of the Trundle, but this early Drake Mountain, it's going to give them that little bit more resistance, which will be pretty nice for V3.
Not bad at all. One of the dragons you're happy with to get at the start of the game. Gives you a decent amount of stats as far as it goes. It's nothing super notable, but as far as it goes for the tempo of the game, I feel like I'd be remiss to not mention that Rift Herald spawning in 30 seconds, and every other game we've had full rotations over to the Herald. I see no reason why we won't be getting at least one team dedicating a hearty amount of resources to it.
And you love to see a good early team fight. 23 seconds on the clock. Unica going to try and get level 6 off these Krugs just before that. That's what she has managed to level out these level discrepancy with Kanatu, both level 7 at the moment.
That is a Hex Drinker, first item from Kanatsu. That is, I'm going to say, very respectful and quite clever, actually, because as far as it goes, it doesn't give Unica good stats to steal with the ultimate, because it's a shield at the end of the day, and it's only a conditional shield. So against Yu-Gi-Oh! And Washide, you are going to be very, very annoying to handle, and if we do ever see any lane swappy shenanigans, that will be the situation, especially side laning later on. Good choice, I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty old school. I feel like it's very rare to see Hex Drinker. I feel like I personally haven't built the item in a very long time.
Yeah, I think main reason it's starting to pop up again is because More is so good for people that build a lot of AD, just because of how they changed it now to scale off it. The other day, I was playing against a Jhin, and it was 4 items. I went to hit them, and I propped their More shield, and their health bar just refilled. And I have never felt so much pain trying to kill somebody as a humble victor, watching the Jhin just turn back at me and shake their head.
It's that perfect Vine. Although, hold on 1 second, Kanatu going to go aggressive onto Washidai. Going to drop so much damage with that boulder. Not even landing the full Gnar ultimate, just getting the swipe. But once again, Washidai not having the best of time, and it's seeming a little bit rough for this top side. You know, obviously, if this Akali can't really get snowballing, it does feel like it loses a lot of its potency.
Enjoy it while you can. We know the state of Akali right now. At the end of the day, this champion gets absolutely bonkers after they get one item, and once they get that one item, all it takes is a single good team fight, and suddenly this Akali could just 1v9 the game. So it's something that I'm not going to count them out yet. Yeah, obviously, Kanatsu's been having a great time in the lane so far, but this is the time where they need to be having a great time, and considering they're only 1 plate ahead, I don't know if that's enough.
Here comes Blank looking for Yujo. It's going to get stunned up, but does get the knockback, and Dasher going to be able to keep them still. There is the charge. The Onslaught Shadow is going to get the fear, and it's an easy kill, easy first blood over to Dasher. And talking about counting, Hecarim is very, very far ahead of this Trundle.
Yeah, that's the thing. Unica has just not been farming. They've been running around trying to look for plays, but when you aren't getting the plays done, that is just a big losing maneuver, as nothing else going to happen on this top side. Unica is doing what they can. You don't farm as fast as the Hecarim. That's kind of the point. Hecarim is very good at that, but very susceptible early. Trundle, the opposite. So by factor of Unica not getting a lot of ganks down, yeah, makes sense why it's going this way, and it's not great to see if you are hopeful for V3.
Yeah, and also picking up the Herald early on from Blank as well. But here's the replay once again, and it's pretty nice interactions all around.
Yeah, if anything, that actually really sealed Yu-Gi-Oh's fate, because by being further away, the Hecarim fear lasts a bit longer. So, you know, bit 5-head right there. Very well played by Blank. Completely intended interaction.
Yeah, I'll let them push me away for the longer fear. I like that thought. It's a good one, as we obviously Dasher dropping a lot of damage onto Yu-Gi-Oh. Right, is really able to do the most through these minion waves.
In this bottom lane, we just haven't seen anything. And actually, I have seen Dresscode opt for the Gale Force as opposed to going for... We know they don't go for the lethality build right now because they don't have the standard Airy that pairs with that. But makes the most sense for the Xayah. You don't really want anything else. And it gives you the ability to dodge away from the Hecarim and the Gnar in team fights. So I like it. Makes a lot of sense. We'll have to see what this crit Xayah can really get done, as everybody's standing very aggressively in the mid lane, but Dragon's still not up for 40, and now Hawks have prio in the bot lane.
Yeah, it was a little bit overzealous. I feel like V3 have played this very slowly in the early game, when I feel like they should have really been trying to make the most of their advantages. As you said, the Trundle not really capped in the early game, very, very powerful indeed, and hasn't really been able to push an advantage, and it does make me worry a little bit. Obviously, one item power spikes, the Syndra and the Xayah do scale, but it does feel like the Hawks definitely having the better time with it being quite a quiet game.
It's really rough, because the more I look at these two teams, the more I think, actually, the Hawks don't necessarily scale to infinity if it's a crit Xayah. If it was the AP Xayah, and then V3 have no way to answer it, I would be very worried if I were V3. The fact that it is going for this kind of standard AD, I'm actually okay with it. I think V3 are fine to play for their first item, second item spikes, and then look for the team fights. Because at the end of the day, if you just look at raw abilities, Hecarim ult, Gnar TP into ult, way, way more than anything else we see from V3. And I think that that's the real thing that they are a bit scared of, and I would definitely say rightfully so.
Yeah, what should I? We're going to have another scrap in the top side, and it's been the same way every time we've seen it. What should I? Just getting slightly outclassed in this matchup. Kanatu having a bit of a better time. As we did see the Herald in the mid, they're going to give a few plates gold over to Dasher. And this Dragon being left open, neither team really surging to go for that just yet, as Blank is lurking around in this red side jungle.
I can't remember who said it, but I saw in the chat that somebody said this would be the longest game and a win for V3. Right now, we're looking half of that, but with that kill, not the other.
Yeah, Hecarim there finding a very, very simple kill onto Washizai, just running up easily, going to be able to take them off the map. But does that potentially open up for the Dragon? Obviously, Hecarim on top side does mean that there is no smite for the side of the Hawks on the bot side, and it does look like they are going to take advantage of that.
Will be a lot of plates going over for Kanatsu though in the top lane, and no TP from Washide means that it's going to be a bit rough for this Akali. It was already poor. You can see if you look at the itemization that it's 136 MR Gnar pushing in on the top lane. That's harder to say than I thought it'd be. And it makes it nigh impossible for the Akali to actually get anything done until they finish that Rift Maker and start weaving in a bit of true damage off it.
Yeah, I will say, League of Legends kind of does what they want, you know, a lot of the time. I've never really understood why Akali is AP.
I mean, she was originally hybrid, right? That was the whole point. Because she was hybrid, that's why she would always build Hextech Gunblade, but then post-rework, yeah, they can't just went full AP and there was no chance at the hybrid. Why? Are you implying that she should be AD? Or that the hybrid was the correct way?
She throws physical daggers. I feel like like she hits you with a shuriken flip and then slices you. It just feels very AD focused for...
It's visceral, I see you, yeah.
Like, what magic are they using? Like, obviously, Naruto, they do use some magic as well, but...
Well, no, because even then they throw down a smoke bomb, right? All they're doing is running around and hitting you. So, yeah, okay, I'm becoming open. If anything, why is Zed not AP in that logic?
Exactly.
Because he summons shadows and throws things around. Like, half of the things he does are just illusions. And if that's not magic, I don't know what is. All right, I see you. We've got a conspiracy going on here.
Yeah, I've never really understood that about Akali. Like when she was hybrid, it makes sense, right? Because you can weave a little bit of magic into those autos, but right now she just hits you in the face. I'm like, is that magic? I don't really know. I would be if Darren Brown did that on the show, I'd be very disappointed.
He just throws a shuriken at an audience member. It's like, what the? I did it. Astounding maneuver. That was a sideline I wasn't expecting to go down in this game, but I enjoyed it nonetheless, as V3 have rotated up for this Herald. While Blank will get that Scuttle Crab, they are being routed away. I don't think that Hawks should want to contest this. I say that, but V3 don't want to either, apparently.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get a 5v5 for a second there. Everyone was kind of posturing. Hawks was starting to move in, and then both teams were like, yeah, you know what, it's not worth it. And the top tower going to go down as well. So that's the second tower for Hawks. They're starting to build a bit of a gold lead now. 5k in the lead already, 16 minutes in.
So V3 rotated first, lost top tower, and now lost the Rift Herald. That is all.
Yeah, it seems like maybe they're playing for late game, you know, maybe they're playing for a real late game strat, or maybe they're going in for the steal here. Heto is going to be slammed down and immediately removed from the game. They are able to try and get a bit more of a fight in this one as the onslaught shadows does come through, but no members of Hawks have dropped.
They won the smite flip. This is V3's Herald and they can't pick it up. So all that happened was they traded a member for the Herald. I'm still not going to go back and say that that's worth, but at least they deny Hawks having it. They
do deny it. Obviously, it would have been better if they'd maybe been able to pick it up, but that is sometimes easier said than done. And agreed, yeah. Denying it is better than nothing, you know. I think losing one kill there isn't going to be a game breaker, and the Herald definitely could have been.
I really don't want to do the analysis for this play. I'm going to be asked with you, my friend, because this is Unica just walking forward as Hatel, brilliantly juked by Reiner. I will give them the credit for that one. Goes in, gets completely locked up, gives the set the full-on access to the backline, and just becomes a massive zoner in the middle. As part of the benefit of this set support is you can waste so much time in the early. You don't scale as well as other traditional supports like the Rakan, because you don't get that gold income a set really needs. In the early game, though, we can see why Reiner in particular is so damn good on this champion, because you can just be a brick wall that no other support really gets to mimic.
And I feel like set just makes a lot of sense, right? Like, if we just look at the anime world, Reiner is the Armored Titan. That's a spoiler, but to be honest, it's 9 years old. If you haven't watched that episode by now, like, dude, you're never going to watch it. It's 9 years old, come on. But it's a sentiment of like,
I was on the episode forward. Before then, what the heck?
He goes forward and he charges in and he smashes up walls, and I feel like set really perfectly embodies that.
No, I definitely get it, and I mean, they've got the nice skin to go along with it. I'm expecting that eventual crossover as oh no, Kanatsu, you can't do this every single time. I feel like I've seen that exact trade pattern go down maybe 4 times at this point, and it hasn't changed whatsoever.
It almost feels like watching an educational video of how to play Gnar into Akali. Like, this is the trade.
Hex Drinker. Step 2, Mercury Treads. Step 3, rinse and repeat this single set play of jumping in while you level up into your Mega Gnar, killing the Akali, or at least half-barring her every time. This is a mini Gnar TPing into the fight.
Oh, V3 now trying the dragon, but it's a big engage coming through, and set in the middle of this fight has just messed it all up. Washide, though, going to be joining in, close to killing Marble, but not going to be able to get there just yet. Reiner will finally fall down, but Washide is also going to drop, and Kanatu and Unica just having a battle of the beasts, but it's going to be Gnar that comes out on top.
And step 5, dominate the team fights with your teleport maneuvers on Kanatsu. Very well played by the Hawks, as I finally get to return to a normal voice, as they are going to very handily take this game away. Bounties are enabled, and I feel like that's just become like the League of Legends signature for, oh no, the game is out of hand.
No, indeed. It is definitely a bit of a worrying moment to see that early. Look at this collapse!
It's all angles. V3 are actually just trapped like rats in this pit. Doesn't get the full-on facebreaker stun is Reiner, but everybody is just destroyed, clumped up together, and Kanatsu actually has a great time going off just chasing the remaining 2 members. Oh my god, I was looking at the top side, so I didn't see how close that was.
It was...
Oh, pain.
It is definitely Spain, no S, and yeah, when you're there, the Hecarim just sweeps. It doesn't matter that he can't see you, you know, he just does that AoE. And yeah, it's not looking the best for V3. You know, maybe they maybe they're trying to lure them into a trapdoor kind of angle. Maybe they're like, okay, we'll give them the lead.
Maybe they try to escape the trapdoor at this point. They've been stuck in this basement for the entire season. Please, just let V3 out. Let them win a game already. I somehow have a major doubt that this is going to be the time where it happens, but yeah, I don't know. Poor team. We talked about earlier. This is just meant to be time for you to allow these players to get some breathing room on stage, build up some proficiency. I think that giving it champions like Akali, where you have the ability to style, the potential to outplay your opponents, is good. Unfortunately, we saw firsthand over and over again, Kanatsu is very good at League of Legends. They are very good at the Gnar, as they are in fact an LJL player, and they now have the Maw of Malmortius. Washide is about to get brutally beaten in this top lane, as even if this fight looks like it's going to go poorly for Kanatsu, I imagine we're about to see the single set maneuver again.
Yeah, it does feel very likely. The boulder, they're going to come through. No jumping.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Switching it up, keeping them on their toes.
A new lesson from the master. Please teach us more, Kanatsu. Outstanding. I thought that with the school fire alarm analogy, that was going to be the end of the teaching for the day, but no, Kanatsu, keep it going. They are all on their own in the middle of no man's land, though. I feel like this may be a bit of a greedy overextend for some wolves that will not be punished.
He is able to get away, and I want to know, is there like history as to why Gnar is so popular in this region, or is it just that everyone likes playing it?
I don't even, it's just, everybody loves their Gnar, everybody loves their Renekton, and we just accept it, all right? You don't have to talk about
it. It's just the facts. It's the facts. It is what it is. And that's what they play. I you know what? I like it. I like Gnar as a champion. You know, I think he's fun.
It's like Fight Club. We don't talk about the Gnar Renekton.
Well, we're talking about Fight Club. Washide is in a lot of trouble. This is a big scrap, and there is the play. The jump forward into the Gnar, but are good. Sonya's will keep them safe, and they are able to get out. As in the mid lane, Marble in a bit of trouble here, but not gonna go down. Not enough damage, and now it's going to be Hetel in trouble. Gets picked up, and yeah, the Hawks are basically just able to kind of keep themselves alive and just kind of play exactly what they want to play. They aren't really under any threat from V3 so far.
Crispy clean stuff, being able to escape from that one. The Baron is on the table, but I think that securing that next Infernal is going to be the priority. Looks like they will shift everybody over to it right now, getting that prepared at very least. If Washide stays on the bottom side, they do have the teleport available soon, but haven't based in a little while. Let's see what actually happened in this mid lane, because I feel like it was just Marble stepping up to clear the minion wave. No, they went in onto dress code thinking they were alone then, and then it was the instant re-engage from Hetel. But, and here's the important part, Watch Dasher's root catches them out of midair. Oh, it's just painful. The only birds here will be the Hawks.
Yeah, and it's not too fun, you know, when you're Rakan and you just get locked down immediately, and then Rise just does Rise things, which is a lot of damage.
He's got a Force of Nature, by the way. I just saw that in the inventory. I was like, huh, am I seeing double and my glasses not on?
they have decided to build that one, and right now Hawks just forcing V3 away from literally every fight, every objective. There was potential of them to maybe start Baron in terms of that's what they looked to do. I don't know if it would have been a wise decision, but they're just not going to be able to play some League of Legends. It just feels very Hawks favored, and I don't really see a way V3 getting back into this one. I'm not gonna lie.
Neither do I, friend. Neither do I, as this is not going to be it, oddly enough. And the worst part is, because of how the Hawks comp works, they're able to go secure this dragon, and even if V3 put on the most miraculous play, starting off this Baron, getting the big turn, Rise Ultimate is enabled, so you can just rotate over hints instantly. It is not safe for you to go for anything. I don't know if Hawks even want to go for the Baron, if they're just going to try and end it slowly otherwise. I feel like they need it to crack open the base. It's just a matter of when as opposed to if.
Yeah, and second dragon, they're going to give them even more damage. The Infernals are starting to stack, and things are starting to heat up, you know, for the Hawks. They are getting pretty strong across this map, and their gold lead is not decreasing. 12k now, 24 minutes in, and I do agree with you. It's kind of when the Baron rather than if, and I think that it's going to be pretty soon.
Also, for the record, I got baited by the Serrated Dirk earlier. I forgot that that was part of the Kai'Sa build order that you need to hit all 3 evolves. So this is going to be the standard mid-game spike that Marble will be hitting. As you'll see very soon, they're going to become a monster on the Rift and completely untouchable for V3. So yeah, that one hope angle, it's gone.
Ooh, big stun there. Does get the kill. Rhino going to be immediately removed. V3 finding some damage and maybe can turn this into a big objective.
Kanatsu's in the base though, so you need to be quick. He is going to be knocking on the inhib, and you're chunked out on dress code. You have to get out. You can't even stick around. Oh, it's brutal. If Hawks want to, they could just take over the Baron for themselves, if not look to chase.
They are potentially looking for the chase dash and not taking their own warp though, as Yu-Gi-Oh going to step forward. There's the damage. What should I coming out of the shadows looking for the kill, but Dasher is taking almost no damage here. Blank also pretty tanky, able to get away there. It's in the backline. We do see Kanatu has made their way down. That's going to be a big kill on the Syndra, and Unica trying to run away will just be out of Void Seeker range. But V3 just losing on all fronts. They lose the bottom in here, but they don't get Baron. And Ryder maybe going to be able to pick up a kill here. Slams down Washidai. I'm going to pull him back. There is the Haymaker. Not enough damage, but a good dodge away from the Void Seeker will keep him alive. The Ignite ticks over. And Akali will go down, and that's going to be Baron for the side of Hawks.
Oh man, one of the few ways they could have dissuaded this was if Washidai gets the TP back in, but that's going to be it. This is, I'm going to say, officially lights out. We've been talking like it's been lights out the whole time. And this is a nice pick onto Reiner. They're trying to do something at very least. Desperation plays are essential when you are this far behind. It took a bit too long though, as yay, you kill the set in front of the Baron. If they manage to get this stuff onto Blank instead, it's a very different story and you can genuinely threaten the Baron. But look at this poke coming out from Marble the whole way. Now the AP Kaiser tech is coming online. And Dasher is a 3k HP rise. That's all I'm going to say for this bit. Yep.
Yeah. It's it's not a lot of movement on the health bar. Not gonna lie, it didn't really go anywhere. And Ganatu just showing exactly what Nard does, just picking off someone on the back line. And I'm not gonna lie, this Kaiser, we've seen it a few times. I've seen it across other regions as well. And the AP build is just so much damage on those Void Seekers.
And when you don't have hard engage, which we already complained about the V3 comp, does not, Rakan doesn't count, it's not consistent, it's a follow-up engage, or it's a pick tool, it won't be your overall win the game engage, hasn't been that for a long time now. You just lose to this Kaiser build, because they can outpoke you, and as long as your team, for the Hawks in this case, doesn't get very greedy and doesn't step too far up, you're fine.
Yeah, they are potentially fine, but the Hawks are going to be able to pick up that tier 3 top, and now looking for the inhib, and Yu-Gi-Oh is just taking so much damage from this Kaiser.
They die to another one because you get to keep the stacks up. The Kaiser Evolve means every time you hit, the cooldown goes down to like 2 seconds flat. It's insanity.
Oh, finally misses one. That is going to be a bit of breathing room for V3, but all 3 inhibs are down. The Baron buff minions are pushing. The 2 towers are starting to crumble. Are they ready to rumble? V3, you got to make a play.
But what if we didn't? That's my question for you, J-Real. What if V3 just decided not to? Oh, finally.
Oh, here we go. They're going to go in, and there is the stun, but they just dump all of the damage onto V3. They dash in, they flash in, they just make too much noise for the V3 boys, and the Hawks are going to pick up the win in a pretty... Well, what the hell is going on now? They're on the fountain. They take the base. I feel like it was a relatively one-sided game.